Alright, so, I'm assuming if you found this video, you're probably familiar with this site. You know the deal, it's a MySpace clone and you can edit your own CSS, yada yada yada, whatever. I made a few, I kind of got tired of seeing people who had absolutely terrible profiles because they didn't want to get over the hurdle of copying CSS, or learning CSS. And then the alternative, which is they couldn't be bothered to learn but wanted a nice looking profile, so they just copied someone else's. So I made a few things and I posted them on the GitHub. So the first one, I guess, is Purgefwind.css. So on this website, you won't see it here, but on any other profile, every instance of the word friend is Fwind, F-W-I-E-N-D. And I just wrote a pretty simple CSS scheme that'll remove the word Fwind from everywhere. You just copy all of this, paste it into your custom CSS, and then make sure to change the username to your username, the header size, unless you've already changed them, this should be right, except I think the default body size is 15, not 17. So yeah, that one's pretty easy. You just paste it in, change your name, and make sure all the sizes for the text are correct. The defaults are going to be small, small, and 15 if you haven't changed anything else on your page. You can just hit update and it'll have changed all the text from Fwind to friend. Yeah, I know I'm a killjoy and whatever, but it really annoyed me that they were doing Fwind instead of friend. Next up on easiest to hardest would probably be your easycolors.css. This is just a really quick way to update your color scheme. So you're just going to copy all of this, once. You're going to edit your profile, scroll below the friend stuff, paste it in, update, and then you're going to inspect element, which is Control-Shift-I, and what you can do is you can just scroll down to here where it says root, and you have all of these things that you can just change to impromptu figure out what color scheme you like, more or less. And you can just play with all these values that are in root, including these ones for the background color, the primary color, tons of stuff. And if you want the background to be something that isn't a color, you can just click the actual text there and do URL, open parentheses, close parentheses, and then just link to an image. So that's pretty easy. And my voice has just died, wow. And so once you have all your settings there, you're just going to copy this, go to your code wherever it is, and you're just going to paste it over the values that are here. And then when you copy the whole thing again, you can go back to edit your CSS and just paste over it, and bam. So, easy way to customize your profile, get whatever color scheme you want, and it covers the whole page without having to scavenge code off of tons of different places. And also you get a unique look. It's not crazy advanced, it won't let you do much more than the kind of thing that I have, but it's definitely a great place to start. Next script is probably going to be cursors.css. That's a really easy one in that, actually let me show it to you. It's very short and you just need to do one thing. So you just need to have your cursor variable and then a URL for a cursor, or you can use one of the default ones. The default ones you can see here at this link, and you can find custom ones on cursors-4u.net. And if you find one at cursors-u4net, it has instructions on how to paste it into your CSS. Ignore those, but just take the URL and paste it here where the current cursor one is. And so with that, it'll just give you a custom cursor that applies on everything. Everything but the text box right here. And that's because I have a different script that does the text box. So you'll see there's a commented out area that's for the text box, if you don't want, like, end up using my Textbox script, just remove the comment that's like right there and right there, and it'll work on the Textbox too. Next is Textbox.css. This one's once again pretty short. It just allows you to customize the text box, and it's another one where you can just copy all of this, paste it in your CSS thing under everything else, and then it shows up in the root. So yeah, here it is for me. And so you can just, like, you can mess around with, you know, the colors and the font, the pixelation, the font weight, all of it, you know, at once. And it even has its thing for its own cursor file, because I thought people might want to have a different cursor file for editing text. And you know, just like the other ones, once you find the values you like, you're just going to copy this part of the root, paste it over the values that are in the original code, and then plug it in, you know, in the same place that it is in your CSS, and it'll apply so everyone can see it, not just you. The final one, and the only one that is like kind of unfriendly, is just other.css, which is a whole bunch of things that I wrote out because I use them in my profile, so I figured other people might want them, but they're not as modular. So you have, you know, a contact box removal thing, and that's why I don't have any of the images next to message, friend, report, or block. There's a thing that changes the image rendering from pixelated to initial. This is like a personal gripe, but here, so this is image rendering initial. And we can go over this and just change it to pixelated. And so initial, pixelated, initial, pixelated, initial, pixelated. It makes a difference. On profile pictures that like mine, I prefer initial, but I can also see why you would prefer pixelated for ones like, oh well, I don't have Tom's profile picture here, but the pixelation also makes it clearer sometimes, so you know, it's either way. You can do whatever you want. I ask that you do initial, but you know, just test it on your own profile picture. It's your page. Your profile picture is probably the most important thing. If you prefer initial, go with initial. If you prefer pixelated, go with pixelated. Don't show friend faces is, you know, something I wrote up just so on my page you don't see friend faces in like the friends area. It means I can just pin more profiles that I like without having them take too much space. The black box around friend names is just the black box around friend names, not much there. Comment images be gone does the same thing where it deletes images, but on the comments. Removing about me and who I'd like to meet header, that's just, you see how that says about me and who I'd like to meet here? Yeah, on my page it doesn't. Wow. Cool. Under removing the margin under blurbs, usually you have like this little margin between the bottom of your who I like to meet text and Tom's friend space, or your friend space. I've removed that on my profile just because I like the block of text between the two blue bars. Remove the who I want to meet section, you know, does what it says. It just gets rid of that second text box. Remove user quote. Users all get a quote right there, and I didn't want one, so I removed mine. Cool. Changing the contact friend message and message text is just, with my personal scheme where I have all the links underlined, send message with a space in it didn't look good, and, you know, add to friends didn't look good, so I just changed it to single word message and friend. You know, same. This is an example of one where these two pieces of code will only work if you have the, like, another one of my pieces of code. Like, these ones aren't made to be as friendly. Like, this will work if you have the easy colors, I think. in, because it pulls the contact box from there when it comes to settings. But it's not that hard to just change the font size yourself if you don't want to use that, but do want to use this. This is a nice 2 lines of code that I ask very nicely that everyone include, because they allow for longer usernames by allowing for usernames to fill all the way left to right in the comment section, because there's a really annoying thing where on the normal comment section, you can see Fox McClow, and then D wraps to a new line, and that's annoying for me. This is a thing that you can change your location with. You just copy it and paste it in, and then change where it says content meet space to whatever custom location you want. I went with meet space because it's a reference to some old cyberpunk stuff where people refer to the real world as the meat world, or they refer to real interactions as happening in meat, whatever. I made the secondary header dividers invisible, so you'll notice on this page there's a little divider between all the things in the secondary header being home, my friends, all friends. There's those little black bars between them. So on mine they're still there, they're just transparent. That's what that piece of code does. This just changes about Fox McCloud to Fox McCloud's blurbs. Or, sorry, it says about Fox McCloud instead of Fox McCloud's blurbs. If you want to put your own custom text there, you could just paste it, whatever. Changing Fox McCloud's friend space to Fox McCloud's friends. It's just another text change I liked. Getting rid of the MySpace URL label. Normally, it has that text above the URL that calls it the MySpace URL. I just got rid of that. Combining the URL and contact box. Usually there's a space between them. On my page there aren't. They have one border. Bleh. And then stop flashing elements from animating. You'll actually notice that on a normal page, you get a new friend request things that flashes really annoyingly. And on my page, it doesn't flash because I wrote this, which creates a keyframe called stop it, where there's only one keyframe and it just treats it a certain way, and then I made everything that blinks adopt that keyframe instead of the normal one. That's all my code for now. If you want to use any of it, feel free. If you make a cool looking profile with it, send me a friend request on the MySpace clone thing. If you have any suggestions, email me. That's probably the easiest way to get in contact. Bye.